There are things that do not just lower your value, they drain your energy, cloud your spirit, and corrupt your inner peace. In a world where people fight for attention, chase validation, and lose themselves in comparison, the silent power lies in knowing what not to touch. Zen teaches that elevation begins with subtraction, removing what weakens your soul. So, if you ever wonder why your life feels heavy or your presence feels unnoticed, this message will reveal the 7 invisible poisons that silently lower your value. Let's walk the path of awareness, where wisdom replaces reaction, and purity replaces attachment. Touching negativity. The first thing that lowers your value is touching negativity. Negativity is not just an emotion, it's an energetic virus. When your mind absorbs complaints, gossip, or criticism, your frequency drops. You start vibrating at the level of those who live in darkness. Zen wisdom says, "The wise do not wrestle with mud, they walk above it." This means, every time you engage in negative conversations, you exchange your peace for noise, you lose your inner silence, the most valuable possession of an awakened soul. When someone throws anger at you, the enlightened response is not resistance, it's stillness. You disarm darkness by refusing to feed it. Your value multiplies not by fighting negativity, but by mastering your calm within it. Touching gossip. The second thing that lowers your value is gossip. When you talk about others, you trade your discipline for disorder. Gossip is a small pleasure that costs a great price. It pulls you away from your path, making you forget who you are. In Zen understanding, gossip is like pouring muddy water into a clear pond. The moment you touch it, your reflection disappears. Every word carries energy. When you speak about others, you carry their energy into your field, and over time, that energy shapes your thoughts, your emotions, and your karma. The wise stay silent not because they have nothing to say, but because they protect their vibration from the pollution of careless speech. Speak less. Observe more. When your words become rare, your presence becomes valuable. Touching drama. The third thing that lowers your value is touching drama. Drama feeds on reaction. The more you respond, the stronger it grows. In every conflict, Zen asks one question: is this moment worth your peace? When people try to pull you into emotional battles, remember, your silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. You cannot calm the storm by shouting into the wind, you calm it by becoming still. Drama seduces the ego. It whispers, "Prove yourself." But the awakened mind knows that no one wins in chaos. Only emptiness remains. Walk away, not in pride, but in protection. Every time you stay out of drama, you polish your inner mirror, and soon, your peace becomes untouchable. Touching comparison. The fourth thing that lowers your value is touching comparison. Comparison is poison disguised as motivation. It creates the illusion that worth can be measured by others' progress. In Zen, Comparison is the birth of suffering because it pulls your attention away from your path and into someone else's shadow. Every soul blooms at its own season. When you compare, you uproot your own growth by staring at another's garden. True peace begins when you stop asking, "Why them?" and start understanding, "This is my time to grow differently." Comparison lowers your energy because it keeps your focus on lack instead of presence. You start chasing instead of evolving. Your path is sacred, and when you stop comparing, you begin to radiate the calm power of authenticity. Touching fear. The fifth thing that lowers your value is fear. Fear steals your spiritual clarity. It turns your inner temple into a battlefield of thoughts. When fear guides your choices, your destiny becomes limited by illusions. Zen teaches that fear is born from attachment, to comfort, to control, to permanence, but the truth is, everything is fleeting. Once you accept impermanence, fear disappears. The fearless are not those who never feel fear, but those who recognize it as a thought and let it pass like a cloud. You lose value when you allow fear to dictate your voice, your dreams, or your silence. Fear is not real, it's the echo of untrained thoughts. Freedom begins when you no longer obey that echo. Touching greed. The sixth thing that lowers your value is greed. Greed disguises itself as ambition. It whispers, "Just one more." But every time you reach, you feel emptier than before. Zen calls this the hunger of the ego. It never ends because it feeds on illusion. The more you grasp, the less you grow. The wise learn that true abundance is not in collecting things, but in needing less. When you detach from greed, your aura becomes pure, your presence calm, and your spirit radiant. Greed drains energy because it turns gratitude into scarcity. Instead of celebrating what is, you mourn what isn't, and that mindset lowers your frequency. Gratitude raises value, greed lowers it. The richest person is not the one who owns much, but the one who feels complete. Touching the past. The seventh thing that lowers your value is touching the past. You cannot touch old memories and stay clean, because they stain your present with ghosts, when your mind constantly replays pain, regret, or betrayal. You block the energy of renewal. In Zen, the past is seen as a dream that has already ended. The wise do not try to rewrite it, they learn from it and release it. When you stop touching the past, your energy returns to this moment, the only moment where transformation is possible. Every time you let go, your value rises. Every time you cling, your spirit dims. The greatest act of healing is not forgetting, it is accepting, because peace is not found in fixing the past, but in being fully present now. Touching validation. Beyond the seven, there's one hidden destroyer: validation. When you depend on approval, you trade your freedom for attention. Validation is the addiction of an untrained mind. It blinds you to your own worth. In Zen, validation is seen as a shadow of insecurity. When you seek it, you tell the universe that you are not enough. But the moment you stop needing it, your energy becomes magnetic. People begin to feel your strength because it no longer depends on them. Self-worth is silent. You don't prove it, you embody it. Touching anger. Anger lowers your value faster than anything else. It burns your patience, distorts your words, and creates karmic scars. Zen wisdom teaches, when you're angry, you punish yourself for another's mistake. The moment anger rises, breathe. Don't touch it, watch it. Every emotion fades when it's observed without attachment. The more you touch anger, the more it shapes your reality. You start reacting instead of responding, but when you master stillness, even fire cools before you're calm. Choose peace, not because they deserve it, but because your soul does. Touching disrespect. When you allow disrespect into your circle, your energy contracts, you start doubting your worth, lowering your frequency to match the one who belittles you. Zen teaches that respect begins with boundaries. If you let others walk on your silence, they will confuse it with weakness. Do not respond with ego, respond with distance. Your silence becomes powerful when it's guided by dignity. When you stop touching disrespect, your presence commands attention without words. Your energy tells people how to treat you, without you saying a thing. Touching idleness. Idleness lowers not just your value, but your spirit's sharpness. When you sit in inactivity too long, your purpose begins to fade. Zen speaks of motion within stillness. True rest is not laziness, it's conscious awareness, but wasting time, scrolling through distractions, or delaying your growth is spiritual decay. The mind that stays idle becomes the playground of regret. Every day unused adds weight to your heart. Even a single step taken with mindfulness is greater than 1,000 dreams unacted. Discipline raises your vibration, idleness lowers it. Touching meaningless relationships. The final thing that lowers your value is staying connected to meaningless relationships. Every bond is an exchange of energy. When you give your attention to people who drain, deceive, or disrespect you, your spirit dulls. Zen wisdom teaches, do not pour water into broken cups. Let go of connections that only exist to feed your loneliness. Choose presence over attention. Choose peace over attachment. You are not meant to be everywhere or with everyone. Your energy is sacred. Guard it like a temple. The moment you detach from meaningless relationships, your aura clears, your peace returns, and your value begins to shine again, quietly, powerfully, unmistakably. If these truths resonated, then your spirit is awakening. You're starting to realize that peace is not gained, it's protected, value is not demanded, it's reflected. So from today, stop touching what drains your worth, protect your silence, your focus, and your energy, and the world will begin to treat you according to the vibration you maintain. If this message brought clarity, light, or calmness, share it with someone who needs this wisdom. Subscribe for more Zen teachings that awaken your higher self, and let your journey toward peace begin with a single act: silence. Because in silence, your true value speaks.